Welcome to this year's edition of the Political Science magazine, Manifesto. We all live in different states of India. I, for example, live in the state of West Bengal. Now, where from these states have emerged? What is the origin of the states in India? That is an interesting story, and we shall be delving into that aspect today in this current volume of Political Science e-magazine, Manifesto. India achieved independence in 1947 and Indian Constitution came into force on 26 January 1950. India thus became a republic and adopted a federal form of government and was declared in the Constitution as the Union of States. On the eve of departure of British, India consisted of Category A, all British provinces. Category B, princely states with legislatures. Category C, medium-sized princely states. And Category D, special status states. The Indian government felt that these different categories of units need to be formalized. Thus, State Reorganization Act of 1956 became the basic act for this formalization at that material time. Immediately, a question crops up here. Where from does the government or the parliament derive the authority to alter, organize or reorganize a state or for that matter any union territory?
Basically, Article 2 of the Constitution of India empowers the Parliament to, by law, admit into the Union or establish new states on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit. Further, Article 3 of the Constitution of India delineates the scope of Parliament in this regard and specifies that such a bill needs to be introduced after incorporating explicit views of the affected areas as well the recommendations of the Indian President. Parliament may by law A. form a new state by separation of territory from any state or by uniting two or more states or parts of states or by uniting any territory to a part of any state. B. Increase the area of any state. C. Diminish the area of any state. D. Alter the boundaries of any state. E. Alter the name of any state. The concept of union territory was introduced by the 7th Amendment of the Constitution, and new union territories can only be established through a constitutional amendment by the Parliament. The State Reorganization Act came into force on 1st November 1956 and was an immediate contemporary of 7th Amendment Act of the Constitution 1956, which abolished the erstwhile categorization of units propounded by the British. However, the State Reorganization Act of 1956 has a checkered and a long history. Categorization of units into A, B, C, D hinged along colonial boundaries and royal lines. This was being contested since 1891. It was being argued that the state should be divided on the basis of language to encourage homogeneity and cohesiveness. Prominent leaders like Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Annie Besant propounded this contention, and Pottisaramulu taking up the issue of eking out Telugu-speaking Andhra Pradesh from Madras Presidency died of hunger strike on 15 December 1952. Though Andhra Pradesh came into existence in 1953, the existing government under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru negated this concept of linguistic states on the ground that it will belittle and erase the strong mosaic of the Indian country. Interestingly enough, Odisha became the first linguistically organized state in 1936. In the pre-independence period, as a culmination of a movement initiated in 1895. To cut a long story short, there were several commissions constituted to suggest methods to identify best arrangement of boundaries of states, namely Linguistic Provinces Commission under the chairmanship of S. K. Dar on 17 June 1948. Secondly, JVP Committee under the chairmanship of Jawaharlal Nehru, the then Prime Minister, in December 1948. Thirdly, State Reorganization Commission in December 1953, headed by the then retired Honorable Judge Fazal Ali. The Commission submitted its report on 30th September 1955, resulting in enactment of the State Reorganization Act 1956, which came into force from 1st November 1956. A point needs to be flagged here. Despite proliferation of movements promoting organization of states on linguistic lines as for example Aikya Kerala, Samyukta Maharashtra or Vishalantra. All these commissions and committees were una voce in the line of JVP committee that security, unity and economic prosperity would be the common denominator in determining the boundaries of states. However, there was a rejoinder preferred by JVP in this regard. If public sentiment is insistent and overwhelming, we, as Democrats, have to submit this subject to certain limitations in regard to the good of India as a whole.
Changes to India made by the enforcement of the States Reorganization Act of 1956 included the formation of states and union territories. The changes to the states included: Number 1. Andhra Pradesh was formed as a merger between the Telugu-speaking regions of Hyderabad state and some areas of Madras through the State of Andhra Pradesh Act of 1953. Number 2. The state of Kerala was formed by the State Reorganization Act of 1956, merging Travancore, Cochin and Malayalam-speaking regions of the Mysore and Madras states. Number 3. Dadra and Nagar Haveli was ruled by the Portuguese until it was liberated in 1954. Till 1961, the administration of the Dadra and Nagar Haveli was carried out by the administrator, and the 10th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1961 made it a union territory. Number 4. Pondicherry, renamed as Puducherry in 2006, includes the former French settlements in India known as Pondicherry, Karaikal, Mahe and Yanam. The French handed over this territory to India in 1954. Till 1962, Pondicherry was administered as an acquired territory, and with the 14th Constitutional Amendment Act, it became a union territory. Number 5. The state of Assam was the only state of the Northeast. However, subsequently in the coming years, Assam was further divided into the states of Nagaland in 1962, Meghalaya, Manipur and Tripura in 1971, and Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram in 1986. Number 6. Bombay was divided into two states, that is, Maharashtra and Gujarat, by the Bombay Reorganization Act of 1960, and Gujarat became the 15th state. Number 7. Mysore state was formed by enlarging the Mysore Presidency by adding Kannada-speaking regions to it. The state was renamed as Karnataka by State Alteration of Name Act of 1973. Number 8. Bihar was slightly reduced in size due to territory given to West Bengal. Number 9. Madhya Bharat, Vindhya Pradesh and Bhopal state were merged to form Madhya Pradesh. Number 10. Madras state lost some of its territory to Kerala and some to the newly formed union territories of Pondicherry and Lakshadweep. Later, it was renamed as Tamil Nadu. Number 11. Punjab was enlarged by addition of Patiala and East Punjab States Union. Number 12. Rajasthan was enlarged by addition of Ajmer and other minor territories. Number 13. Goa was annexed from the Portuguese and was subsequently made a state in the 1960s. Sikkim was also annexed in the 1970s and was made a state. Number 14. In 1966, the Punjab Reorganization Act was passed, which dissolved the state of East Punjab and formed in its place the states of Punjab and Haryana. Some territory was given to the then Union Territory of Himachal Pradesh. A union territory was also formed known as Chandigarh, which acted as the provisional capital of both Punjab and Haryana. Number 15. In 1970, the State of Himachal Pradesh Act was passed. It gave Himachal Pradesh the status of a state. On 25th January 1971, Himachal Pradesh officially became the 18th state of India. Number 16. The next major change in states came in the year 2000, when 3 new states were formed. 3 acts were passed, namely Bihar Reorganization Act of 2000, Uttar Pradesh Reorganization Act of 2000, and Madhya Pradesh Reorganization Act of 2000. These acts led to the formation of the new states of Jharkhand, Uttarakhand, originally Uttaranchal, and Chhattisgarh respectively. These three states were created to initiate a focused development strategy for the tribal people residing in the area and to have meaningful use of natural resources aplenty in the region.
Number 17. State of Telangana was created in 2014 from the state of Andhra Pradesh under the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act of 2014. The statement of objectives and reasons of the relevant bill states that this bifurcation was, firstly, to cater to a long-standing demand of the area and for the betterment of the social, economic, political and democratic aspirations of the people. Secondly, to ensure peace, goodwill, progress and prosperity through sustainable development programs among all the sections of the people of both successor states. Thirdly, to promote industrialization and economic growth in both the successor states through fiscal measures as well as through other programs. Fourthly, for the development of backward areas, especially Rayalaseema and the north coastal regions of the successor state of Andhra Pradesh, and lastly, to consider the Polavaram irrigation project as a national project. Number 18. Most recent changes to the states were made in 2019 under the Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019. The statement of objective and reasons of the concerned bill claimed that under this act were, firstly, there has been a long pending demand of people of Ladakh to give it the status of a union territory. So they realized their aspirations as they have a scarcely populated, difficult terrain and huge area. Secondly, further, keeping in view the prevailing internal security situation fueled by cross-border terrorism in the existing state of Jammu and Kashmir, a separate union territory for Jammu and Kashmir is being created by abolishing the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Lastly, instead, two union territories are formed, namely Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. The Union Territory of Ladakh will be without legislature. The Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir will be with legislature. Currently, India has 28 states and 8 union territories. The States Reorganization Act of 1956 was the most comprehensive effort to shape up the states of the country. However, in the nearly 67 years since the enforcement of the Act, further legislation has been passed to rearrange the states.
A big thank you to everyone for staying with us for this edition of the Political Science e-magazine Manifesto. That's all for the State Reorganization Act of 1956 and its history and subsequent events. We are grateful to our Managing Trustee, Mrs. S.E. Broughton, and our Honorable Chairman, Mr. J.G. Broughton. We are very thankful to our Principal Sir, Mr. Bobby Baxter, for providing us with the platform to showcase this e-magazine. We also extend our thanks to our Vice Principal Sir, Mr. Shanthan Mukherjee, our Senior School Teacher in Charge, Mr. Lionel Jennings, and our Junior School Coordinator, Mrs. Cheryl Amway. Last but not the least, a massive thanks to our Political Science teacher, Mrs. Taposhi Chatterjee, without whose ideas and help this e-magazine would not have been possible to make. Also, a massive thanks to the humanities students of classes 11C and 11D who have made this e-magazine through their collective effort. We sincerely hope that you enjoyed our magazine, and once again, thanks for watching.